As a Dragon Ball Legends player, it should be common sense that top 10 isn't everything. Every time a new character releases, everybody's focused on the new top 10 unit lists. But today, I've decided to do something different. Top 10 characters that are really good, but not top 10. This is gonna be fun. Okay, my name's Zakashi, guys, and in this video here, we're switching it up. If you guys don't know, I haven't been playing PvP that much. Mainly because, one, I've just gotten burnt out about it. I'm a 56 times God rank player, and sweating for the highest ranks against all of these meta slaves, when really and truly the way I summon for characters, I go for the characters I like. I'll play the game here and there, specifically PvP, but PvE, I love the collecting aspect of this game. But I think it's most fun when you're using the characters you like more than anything else. So instead of focusing on the top class of the game, we'll still be addressing really good units, but those units, if you try to prop them in any way, shape or form, there's gonna be a meta slave in your ear talking about some, actually, that unit isn't even top 10. Let's get into this. Now, this is a tier list still, so go ahead and give the boy Dingy a follow, DNGE_YT on Twitter, as he's the one that makes the tier list, and I wouldn't be able to provide you guys this video if he didn't make the template. If you guys want to make your own tier list of any way, shape or form, go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter, and you go to this tweet here and it will be in the replies if you want to go ahead and do that. Let me actually bring it up just so you guys can see, and you can see all the tier lists that you might want to make are here. All right, so we're starting the tier list here. We got fan service and honorable mentions, and I'm gonna be doing every single part of the video in twos because this video doesn't need to be really long. Also, somebody said they liked me without my hat on, so I decided not to wear a hat today. Let me know what you guys think about that. Anyways, we got the fan service tier and honorable mentions tier. Now I want to tell you guys very explicitly that you should not take the ordering too seriously. I did not put too much thought into the ordering, but I tried to make it as coherent as possible. The honorable mentions and fan service tiers aren't ordered at all. There's no order to these, but the 10-to-1 will be ordered. I just tried my best. Plus, there's going to be quite a bit of glaze in this video, but it'll be somewhat reasonable. But looking at the fan service tier, they're just characters that I think that could have made it, but they just didn't, you know, so I had to just glaze them a little bit. And then the honorable mentions are looking pretty decent, you know. They're not the greatest picks, obviously, because this is not a meta top 10. These characters are still good, but, you know, they're not going to bring you to God rank with super ease. So, let me know what you guys think. I don't think I should order them, but I think they're good enough to be used. All of these guys in the honorable mentions. The fan service tier, maybe not to be used, but the honorable mentions, all of these guys, you can use them and they will still provide you some value, just not the top tier amount of value. It's a weird tier list to make as well, because if they're not in the list, a character's not in the list, it might be because they're so bad or they're just too good. So consider that going forward. All right, so we've got number 10 and 9. We've got Bardock and Goku and Ultra Golden Frieza. Let's start with Bardock and Goku. The reason I have Bardock and Goku here is because their elements are amazing. Blue and green, it's like the best element right now you could be if you wanted to run any type of Saiyan team. But outside of that, they also have Indestructible. Indestructible is their biggest driving force, and then explosive greens. There's nothing more than that in my opinion. It's their elements, they're Indestructible, and they're explosive greens. If you're taking anything else, it's just pieces here and there that are nice, but it's not enough to say that they're great. But just the Indestructible is keeping them in the running. If you wanted to pair them with Vegeta or Blue on the leader slot, then make the rest of the team God Key, or even Fusion Warriors, it would actually work out. Even Future, you know, just have them on the leader slot as an Indestructible option. Obviously, stars are needed if you wanted to make them really good, but they can get you places, and I've used them and they were actually really fun to use. Anybody with explosive green is just a free combo starter, so I just respect them just a bit, you know. But it's more so their elements, they sync well to Zenkai buff the team, which is going to be super good if you want to make a team with them, which is why they're here at number 10. Then at number 9, we've got Ultra Golden Frieza. I think it's just the powerful opponent aspect to it. People really like Golden Frieza. Frieza's a very popular character. You put him on powerful opponents with Turles and them guys, you know it's going to be clean. You're using a not too overpowered unit, but he fits on a nice strong team. But he also has the comeback himself where he's going to punish you for getting punished. And then, of course, his element is pretty decent to counter Vegeta or Blue. His ult has AoE. His green card, I used to talk about it a lot. It literally gives you everything in one card. You get Vanish Recovery, cards, key, damage. You know, it's really great. It's really great. I don't think there's much more to say about these two. I think they're really fun units in general to use. I'm not a big fan of Golden Frieza, but I'm not gonna lie, nuking people with his ult is crazy. But Bardock and Goku, you know, having a Legends original unit, the only one in the game, I think that's already aesthetically pleasing, you know, so I had to respect them and put them on this list. Next up, we got 7 and 8, and I'm also leaning towards Super Baby 2, which is why he's one ahead of Gamma 1 and 2. But I'm going to talk about Super Baby 2 first, and I'll talk about Gamma 1 and 2. So we got Super Baby 2. Super Baby 2, you already know how I call him, Maharaga Gajaraga, the one who adapt to everything. This guy would be still top 5 to this day if he just had endurance and maybe buff cancellations, but he doesn't. But I'm going to talk about that another time anyways. If he just had those two things, he'll be a top class unit in the game, literally one of the biggest 1v3 units in the game. He'd be absurd. But he does everything, man. He's anti-Saiyan, he locks you in. He's the Margin Vegeta before the Margin Vegeta. If his gauge is full though, that ultimate is going to lock you in. He can break your combos, he heals, he's literally just adapting, bro. Don't let his gauge fill, he's gonna slice you in half. That's what we like to see out of Super Baby 2. Gotta give him the props, you know. His element's pretty nice as well. A lot of people are bringing out purples because obviously Vegito Blue is green, so you have a reason to use him on the battlefield. You're gonna see a lot more G4s and Ultimate Gohans. It's a 3v3 game, bear that in mind. And then we've got here Gamma 1 and 2. Now, Gamma 1 and 2 is a big sleeper, and I think they're actually really good. They just don't have the strongest foundation right now. However, because they got their plat, boy, they are actually solid. If you get to that prep time stage, and their gauge here, with them being super tanky and consistently being able to tag switch to get type neutral and things like that, they're really effective, but they just don't have the team to back them. I've fought one that got to the prep time gauge, and unlike Boo Bros, they are able to just switch out and then switch back in and time their prep time gauge to catch you as soon as they switch in, so they can literally get you killed if they just save it for the right moment. It's similar to like how I use Ultra Vegito Blue. If you switch in at the right moment and just ult straight away, it's nasty work, but even then you have to press the main. With Gamma 1 and 2, you just switch in after you run it down a bit, so you switch out first, and then whenever you think you need to be protected, let's say they use a Rising Rush, if you switch in like literally a play before that, their gauge will, you know, or depending on how low you got it, their gauge will literally empty, and you're so good, bro. You're so good. It's crazy work. I've seen a lot of people pull up techs like that. I think they're really underrated. A unit that will get you far if you have decent stars. Not to be slept on, but I'm more leaning towards Super Baby 2 than Gamma 1 and 2, but I think they're really good, just very underrated. Next up, we got Ultra Vegito Blue. Now, this guy here, he's really just a substitute option, which is why he's perfect for this list. You know, he is still good on his own. He can do some nice things here and there. His gauge allows him to get a lot of cover no and extra strike damage and a card. He also gets cover no pretty easily. His green card is good for a free blue card, and it goes type neutral, healing after half health, I believe. He removes your vanish on the first player's ult, can catch people off guard, vanish back after getting a body, and then he gets nullify endurance on Rising Rush. It's a lot of good pieces here, but I think with the future buffs in existence, a lot of people are already using reds, but they wouldn't opt in for Vegito Blue first. On future, you have Corrupted Zamasu, the Red Zamasu, and even Mai now. Those three you're more likely to take, and even if you're running God Key, you might want to consider Shin before Ultra Vegito Blue. But as an offensive power, if you're just trying to have fun, Ultra Vegito Blue really does shine. He's a unit that can easily catch a lot of players off guard, and he could easily become your star if you let him do so. You have to give him the buffs though, just like a lot of units of future already have, so you gotta prioritize him, you know. I was meant to do this in twos. I forgot to bring up Boo Bros, but yeah, Boo Bros are the number 5 pick. I've got them here mainly because Majin Buu Saga is so OP, but also similar to Gamma 1 and 2, they are super tanky and they're able to do a lot more damage than they were pre this unit has a Zenkai, so pre-Zenkai. Boo Bros really did get a good upgrade, but it's just that it wasn't good enough to be better than the other options on Majin Buu Saga, those being Zenkai Kid Buu and Fusing Super Vegito, which makes them perfect for this list. But if those two guys didn't exist, people might actually opt in for using this blue unit. This unit here, unlike Gammas, like I was about to say, you can't actually just use the gauge whenever you want, the prep time gauge, so you can't just switch out and switch back in when it's convenient for you. Once you start the stay alive Vegeta, you know, you gotta stay in and survive, but when that Kamehameha goes up, as you can build up the buffs now, it's gonna do crazy damage. Fun unit to use. Of course, you're aiming for the prep time gauge to go off the Transcendent Kamehameha, but that's about it. But at least if you get that timers down, you're gonna land it. So overall, it's a lot easier to do than it was before, which is why I'm giving them their opportunity here to be a top 5 in really good units, but not really top 10, you know what I'm saying? But I think I should respect them here, and I like the positioning I've got them at. 4 and 3, we've got Fusing Gogeta Blue and Evil Majin Buu. Fusing Gogeta Blue, it should be explained, self-explanatory. He's a second-rate option for the green Vegito Blue. But with Fusion Warriors being high stock right now with the new Vegito Blue, you can use Fusion Gogeta Blue. His striker sword can come in handy, and as a lot of people are bringing out purples, specifically G4, which is where GB's value lies, he's able to strike assault and go through G4's counter and actually get the upper hand. He's also yellow, but so he can do damage against, for example, Ultimate Gohan, so he's not completely useless. But of course, he's not like a first-rate pick on almost any of his teams, whether it's movies, Some Family, Fusion Warriors. It's pretty sad, even God Key, you know. But that doesn't mean he isn't usable. There's just better options on every single team that he's on. I feel like if you did use him, and I do use him, I have him about 12 stars. I've been Z-powering him just because I like the way his striker sword looks, plus he's a Fusion Warrior. And he is fun to use. He does actually surprise me in some cases. For example, when the explosive greens go up, he's able to block that. Pre-transform, he's low-key aggressive and he can get the vanish back pre-transform and post-transform, so that's not to be slept on as well. Just a few nice pieces here and there, but of course he's not the most mega aggressive guy. But I think he's on a good spot for this list. I'd actually take him above, maybe not all of these guys actually, now that I'm looking at it. I might have to do some evaluation post, but because of the stock of Fusion Warriors, I've got him higher than most of these guys. And if we're looking at in response to most of their teams, so on Fusion Warriors, I feel like he has a higher odds of coming out being aligned with Vegito Blue, so you can counter gauges all over the place. It could actually work out in your favor, having two characters that counters gauge versus one. But hey, it's all a subjective matter. Here we have Evil Majin Buu. Again, the Majin Buu saga juice is just insane, but the team is just so stacked right now that he doesn't even need to be used. But if you're missing one or two characters, he's easily next up and he's going to give you the exact value he needs. The buff cancellation, being green, he's able to counter the likes of Ultra Turles for that combo breakage. He does actually break combos pretty easily. I believe he goes type neutral defensively. He also has an ultimate, so he can do a bit of damage on the offensive end as well. He synergizes very well with powerful opponents as well, so not just Majin Buu saga. So him being top 3 on this list of really good units that are not necessarily top 10 is actually a pretty comfortable spot in my opinion. It's the one I'm more confident on in this whole list. Making a tier list at any point is always very difficult, but with Evil Majin Buu, he could maybe even be 2 or 1. It's just simply the fact that his team is so stacked that he's lost value, and that's insane. But overall, he's still a very good choice if you did want to use him. He will get you places, don't get it twisted, and he can easily keep you alive, especially if you want to run that survivability type of game. Alright, so we've got the 2 and number 1 units here. We got God Goku and Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now, I was contemplating putting God Goku at number 1, but I really feel like as an individual unit, Ultra Gohan just provides more. He provides just way more, especially with his endurance, and now there's going to be a lot more buff cancellation units in existence. I think he is a safer option because individually he's better. God Goku also has endurance, but simple thing like I think he doesn't get key on entry. Boy, yeah, that's bad. God Goku is the one that needs a buff. But outside of that, because Rose's existence keeps this guy really safe with the buff cancellation. You could even add Vegito Blue with the ability to cancel buffs as well. This guy's endurance won't become a liability, so God Goku will be really safe for the running if you did want to run him, and he is quite underrated for some factors. For example, him being green, he's a good counter for Ultra Turles and has been, but of course he hasn't had the full protection that he's needed for his teams. But now you can run him because those 2 other units can cancel buffs to keep him alive, and he's the one with endurance, while Rose also has endurance if you wanted to use him that way. His explosive green is pretty safe, and I believe he blocks AoEs as well 1 time, so that's also good for stopping people from easily starting combos. His ultimate hits very hard. I think a lot of people sleep on how hard his ultimate hits. You will have to invest in him, of course, to make him good, but I think he can easily stand out. And on his team, specifically God Key, sagas from the movies maybe not so much, but God Key, he does stand out a lot more, and especially with the release of Rose and Vegito Blue, it does give him more of an option to be run. But Ultra Gohan, for the same reasons as this guy, if you wanted to leader slot him or just pair him with a lot of guys that already exist, Ultra Gohan is fitting. Ultimate Gohan's on his way back because of, well, he's not even on his way back, he's been in the meta, but he's more valuable now because Vegito Blue's released, so there's reason to run a purple. But this guy also has an endurance. He's doing the same thing as God Goku but on hybrid Saiyans, but simply Ultimate Gohan is just such a solo unit, while this guy's also a solo unit. So this guy's getting backpacked by his team in a sense, but he's very valuable for the endurance, whereas this guy can also just hang on his own. None of these guys are like super meta relevant, but you can run them and get really good results. But hey, I might just go ahead and analyze this whole list now and maybe fix up the order. But I think for the most part, this is an okay list, you know. Like I said, a little bit of glaze here and there, but I think this was a lot more fun to go through. Somebody's probably happy seeing a specific unit that they love using in this list. Alright, so I kind of just stared at the list for a little bit longer, and I just decided to move one thing. I moved the Gammas down and I moved Golden Frieza up. That was the only change I felt to make, and I couldn't actually be asked that much. I kind of just like the way the list looks, and I really like all of these units. I really do want all of these guys higher starred, besides maybe like Golden Frieza, because I don't really care about Golden Frieza. But I'm trying to 14 star Bardock and Goku. Super Gauge 2 I would like more stars on. Already 14 stars. On the way, 14 stars. God Goku, I don't really need it, I'm not gonna lie, but Ultra Gohan I'd like more stars on. Most of them I'd like more stars on, so I think all of these guys are very optimal. I've seen people run them here and there and they've actually surprised me. Specifically, the Gamma surprised me a lot. Boo Bro surprised me a lot. And God Goku will sneak you. He will sneak you if you underestimate him. I know these guys are being used by someone there, but let me know what you guys think about this, man. If the unit's not here, they're either too good or too bad. But I was even contemplating some of these honorable mentions to slide them up. Like, for example, maybe for Bardock and Goku, Beast Gohan could come up with the hybrid Saiyan, but I think it's more like range type, so I don't know how I feel about that. But the buff cancellation is there as well. Janemba maybe, this Trunks, Broly, any of these guys. But I just prefer the indestructible, but hey, I don't think it's that big of a deal anyways. But yeah, man, that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Something a little different. I really felt like I shouldn't make a meta top 10 tier list when I haven't been playing the game that seriously, you know. I've been using a lot of units that I just want to use for fun, and they've actually been surprising me a lot more than I would expect. But I'm not no top 1000 standard anymore, so I wouldn't feel right doing a meta tier list when I haven't been sweating the game as I used to. That's just my justification for why I haven't done a normal top 10. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.